Hello everyone.
Hi guys.
Nice to see you. So it's October, but we're talking about something a little bit further ahead, which is called January Scent Project.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which are a company we've smelt these a little while ago, and you've just bought a load of new stuff.
So
I've not smelt a new
we
one,
encountered them 9 months ago or something.
Yeah.
We got a sample.
You very excited me at that time.
And I was really, I try and excite you as much as I can.
Of course.
There were a couple of fragrances in particular that really interested me, and also they've just released a new one called Burvuvu. So we're looking at three of these fragrances. So John Beeble is a writer for Fragrantica, so many of you may know him. He's also an artist, and the other thing I will say about these fragrances is I really love the presentation and artwork. If you follow us on Instagram, I posted a picture of these because I think they're really cool. Not only that, they come with a little postcard, and I really think the postcard gives you a real idea of the fragrance and almost kind of establishes the story. So let's talk about the ones which were released last year. So this is Eiderantler. Looks like this. Look at the colour of that juice. Isn't that awesome?
That's incredible.
It's described.
Don't let that anywhere near Superman.
No. It will, so this is the picture which comes with it. Don't know how well you can see that. I might put another one up. It's described as an ivy fougere.
Which you don't hear very often, do you?
No, you don't at all. But what you get, I'm going to put this on the card. So these three fragrances, I would say, are studies around a single note. So for me, this is a study in lavender. Later, we've got a study in rose and cedar, and I don't know if this is the case, but to me it seems like he's taken an ingredient and he's just really spent a lot of time thinking about how he can take it. Lavender is used enormously, prolifically throughout perfume, and he's tried to spend a lot of time with it and see what he can do with it and see if he can create something original. I love the kind of greenness you get from the spray. And I've never smelled a lavender fragrance like this. It's so green, it's so lush. It's so thick. We did an autumn video recently, and God, that is amazing.
That could have been in there in a heartbeat.
And we talked a lot about these autumnal fragrances like Cape Heartache, which makes you think of pine and wood. For me, this is somehow it's almost spring. It's so lush and it's so green, as if everything is slightly wet with dew and thick and rich.
It's very wet, absolutely. Yeah. It's a real, something has absorbed a lot of rainwater.
I don't...
Damp, yet it's fresh and beautiful.
It's incredible when on one hand, this is a very lavender dominant fragrance, but it somehow doesn't feel like a lavender fragrance. It smells so far from, I don't know, Caron Poronom, if you think about a lavender fragrance.
It's more a colour. I smell that. I don't pick out a lot of individual stuff. I just get green.
Yeah,
I get a big sort of synesthesia reaction.
Absolutely, and which is why we get this beautiful picture.
Yeah.
Really gives you a great idea of what it feels
slightly
like.
Mossy as well.
There's a richness and a warmness, almost a creaminess, like a milkiness, like at the depth of this. The other thing I found of the three fragrances, I found the kind of best performing. Really lasted very, very well and still projected all the way throughout the day.
Do you know what I've just thought of? That's just brought back a memory. My grandmother, bless her heart, used to make something which she called soap jelly, which was lime jelly
it's really
mixed with carnation milk. So you got a sort of blancmange thing. It's not lime, but if you were to make what we called green jelly or soap jelly, I get a little bit of that. There is that slight carnation milk roundedness to it.
There's also a very piney, sappy kind of quality to it. I really like this.
It's quite erotic.
It's really, really awesome.
Very beautiful.
Absolutely unlike anything I've smelled before.
I don't know what ivy smells like, by the way. I've never smelled ivy.
Isn't it poisonous? No, that's...
Poison ivy.
Yeah, poison ivy is definitely poisonous. But I have to say, this is one of the fragrances when I saw Lugaturian review some of the January Scent projects. I really felt he just sprayed them on card, didn't give them the time of the day, because I find all of these absolutely original, but I really don't feel there are rough edges. I don't think they're wacky. Moving on to the next fragrance, which is called
very beautiful.
Smolderose. Here it is. I should show you with the cap on, because they're really cool little caps. These are the little 30ml bottles. We should also just mention the price. So you can get 100ml for $135, which is about 100 quid.
Very good.
Or 30ml for $65, which is about 50 quid. But what you can do is you can get 3 of these 30ml bottles for $150. Which is about 115 quid or £38 each.
That's very good.
So £38 is really not that much, and their delivery to the UK is very reasonable as well. So this is the picture for Smolderose. And this picture, for me, gives you a really good idea of what it smells like.
Yeah.
I'm going to spray it. The other thing is, when I first looked up this house, I just saw this fragrance, which was, rose is used a lot. I really, really like rose. But this is rose and shellfish, roasted shellfish.
It's a classic combination that is not explored enough.
The rose in this is so, I think it's damask rose.
It's enormous.
It's so jammy. It's so rich. It's as well as being jammy. There's some kind of there is dustiness to the rose as well. But
yeah, there's the shellfish thing. It's very interesting. I'm getting like a dried out shell that's then been like shaved into dust almost.
Yeah, I know.
Like some chefs do. They grind up a scallop shell or something and call it scallop dust of God or whatever.
But there's also kind of frankincense, and there's maybe a bit of olibanum, and
it's very silvery for a rose.
And there's a lot of. I feel like there's amber at the heart of this, and there must be some labdanum, because especially as it dried down, it became really sticky and rich and sensual. I really like the note of rose. I've got quite a few rose fragrances. And
Me too, but only very gradually over a period of time. It was a little while getting to that rose.
This smells completely unique. On one hand, I feel that the frankincense and shellfish accentuate the rose, but on the other hand, they steer it in a completely different direction. I guess there's a slight sourness to it as well, and
there really is, isn't there?
Even though rose can sometimes seem rich and bright, I get the image, this feeling of kind of almost melancholy, a kind of like sadness, kind of introverted. It's almost a bit miserable.
I get a weird sort of slightly melted warm plastic aspect as well.
Yeah, kind of rubbery, almost not quite Play-Doh, but it's a hint of that. It's really good. I love it. It's like we had this.
This is interesting stuff, isn't it? This is really
a lavender fragrance, which is taken a common ingredient, lavender, and it smells completely different. Rose, taken it in a way I've not encountered rose before. So here's the third one. So I know he spent a while trying lots and lots of different cedars before he came up with this Burvuvu.
And look at the juice. I mean, that's I love that dark juice.
It's really,
we
really
can't
dark.
drink them, but it's always nice to imagine.
And this, once again, here's the image, the little postcard. I hope you can see it there. It gives you an idea of it. Yeah. And he tried lots and lots of cedars before he decided on 3 he was going to use. The 3 are Texas cedar, Canadian white cedar, and West Coast cedar.
It's a lot of cedar.
Let's put it here. I'm going to try this on flesh. This. Do you want to go for? You can see how dark that is. It's amazing.
Thank you.
What I would say about this, the opening is very kind of sharp, woody, bordering on. It's quite camphorous. I would say it's actually quite almost medicinal. There's also basil in this, I think, which gives it an aniseedy.
It's freshest opening I've ever smelled.
Yeah, very bracing. What I find interesting about this, in the picture, he's got, you see these kind of mushrooms growing kind of almost as if they're growing from the cedar.
Yeah.
And as this developed, I really found it changed really quite a lot. So the cedar really died down from a bright, almost medicinal, to becoming something very warm. And if I say this, it might sound negative, but the thing I started to think about was a compost heap. Now, I don't want you to think of rotting vegetables. What I want you to think more of is dried flower cuttings and grass. I remember at home, whenever my dad mowed the lawn, we have this compost heap, which is basically grass cuttings, and then he would throw, there was an old bit of carpet on it, he would throw it down to kind of compact it down, but it would get, especially on a warm day, it would get very, very warm, and it had this warm, musty,
I bet it was beautiful.
Not rotting, just this foresty, warm, musty smell.
Nature doing its thing.
There's a poem by John Betjeman called The Subaltern's Love Song, and there's a line: "Into 9 o'clock Camberley, heavy with bells, and mushroomy, pinewoody, evergreen smells." And this is what it, because this mushroom, the mushroom note in this reminds me of the mushroom note in Lude by Andy Tower.
Yeah.
That morel note, in that it creates this feeling of undergrowth and slight, it's not vegetal decay, it's just vegetal warmth kind of drying down. It's weird that in this fragrance I also got bits of DNA from the other two fragrances, the kind of warm green feeling of Eiderantler, and the slight kind of like ambery rich heart of Smolderose.
And they're all bracing in the same way at the opening as well. They all have a sort of chord that they strike at the very beginning.
But I mean, I've got to say, these fragrances are, you know, almost if I had to describe to you what I love in fragrance, it's this. It's someone who's taken very, very traditional notes, wants to do something really, really considered. He's obviously spent a lot of time thinking, what can I do with this? How can I take it to the next level? Everybody knows cedar, everyone's bored of cedar, everything's been done with cedar. I'm going to study it and I'm going to change it. The same with rose, and what he's come up with is with shellfish.
Yeah, they all have a little sort of wisp of something that just takes them in a different direction.
They're
takes
brimming
your nose
with
somewhere
personality.
Else. Yeah.
They're completely original.
I mean, that's so interesting because
Let me smell it on you.
I'm not getting mushroom as such, but I'm getting.
But you do.
I'm getting a sort of fungal undergrowth. Not fungal.
But you might not get. I would. I've spent a bit more time with this, but I would say with this more than the other two, I think this changes more because it's quite medicinal and sharp at the beginning, whereas that goes. So it's not great for you. I mean, you can get the first impression. Something quite minty as well. Yeah, well, there's basil in it, so maybe it's that aniseedy kind of quality of basil. But I really love.
It's fantastic.
Really, really great fragrances. Really reasonably priced fragrances. He also does a sample set, which you can order. So that's the best way to try.
You actually, at the time you got these, you said, "Do you want to get some as well?" And I didn't, and I regret it because actually they're perfect as a set as well.
Yeah.
I'd quite happily be set for the year with those three fragrances.
Yeah, I mean they're really great.
Eiderantler would work beautifully in the spring and summer.
Yeah.
It's fresh, it's bracing. These two are autumn and winter, just beautifully done.
Great fragrances. Anyway, so go online and order one of their sample packs to check them out.
I'm going to do it as well.
Really reasonable priced. Check them out. Beautiful stuff. I'll try and put. If you go on our Instagram account as well, you can see these pictures slightly better. So maybe have a look at them.
Check it out.
Check them out. And until next time, happy sniffing.